after renting my property to Section 8 for a whole year, these are my main takeaways. Hopefully this can benefit you, especially if you're thinking of renting your property to Section 8 or you just want to know a little bit more of the program. So let's begin. The first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that the Section 8 portions can change throughout the year. What does this mean? This means that let's say you rent your property for $2,000 and you guys agree that Section 8 is going to pay $1,500 and the tenant is going to pay $500. Throughout that year, depending on if the Section 8 tenant gets a job or loses a job, that amount can go down or up. If the tenant gets a better paying job or they get a raise, then the Section 8 amount that Section 8 gives you, in this case $1,500, can go down. It could be $1,200, $1,300, $1,000. It all depends at the raise and how much more the tenant is making. This is very important because when you rent to Section 8, they tell you how much you're going to be receiving. And a lot of people basically in their mind think that the Section 8 portion is guaranteed no matter what. But depending on the tenant situation, that amount can go up or down. In my case, the tenant only paid $150 a month. A month before renewing the lease, the Section 8 portion went down. And then she started paying me $600. That was because she got a better paying job. So portions change and you never really know what's going to happen. It all depends on the tenant situation. Another main takeaway of renting to Section 8 is that the Section 8 office is slow. They are slow to get back to you. They are slow to respond to emails. They usually don't pick up the phone. They are also slow with paperwork. So any issue you have with Section 8, just know it's usually going to take a lot longer than you would like to. Just for them to respond to me, it took me about 5 days. And that wasn't a phone call. That was just a simple email about what the new Section 8 portions was going to be. So if you're going to rent to Section 8, just know that the Section 8 office is very slow to do anything. For me, my issue wasn't a big one. But if you have a big issue and you want a response fast, you're going to have to suffer a few days to get a simple response. Another thing I got to talk about, and everybody talks about this, is the Section 8 inspection. The Section 8 inspection is very difficult to pass, especially on your first try. Usually you're going to fail at least a few items. So when you do the Section 8 inspection, go into it with the mindset that you're going to fail a few things. If you don't go into it with that type of mindset, then it can be very discouraging getting a list of items that you have to fix. So for your sake, I would recommend going into the Section 8 inspection knowing that you're going to fail a few things. Usually it's nothing big. It can be changing a light bulb, replacing batteries on the smoke detectors, but you're going to fail. The downfall is that once you have the inspection, it usually takes about a week or two for them to come back out again. So that is rent that you will potentially miss. So just be sure of the Section 8 process before you get into it. Another thing that is very important is the Section 8 paperwork. They're going to make you fill out W-9s and tax paperwork. This is so the IRS knows how much money you're receiving in rent from your rental. This is good and bad. Some people don't want to report how much they make from the rental properties, so Section 8 is not going to be the route. This is because all the income from Section 8 is reported to the IRS. Also, Section 8 has a lot of paperwork. So you're going to be filling out a lot of documents and signing a lot of contracts. So just be ready for that. Another thing that I want to talk about is delayed payments. What is delayed payments? Sometimes when you have an issue with Section 8, they won't pay their portion until after you fix the items. So let's say there was an issue with the property and Section 8 decided not to pay you. Then let's say they didn't pay you for 3 months. Once you fix the issue, they're usually going to pay you the 3 months plus the new month in one payment. This can be good or bad. Good if you have the money to pay the mortgage without receiving that rent. Bad if you don't have that money. Then you're going to be very stressed and you're going to have to bring money from your saving accounts to pay for the mortgage. They do these delayed payments to protect themselves and protect the tenants from bad landlords. However, usually they just hurt good landlords because the mom and pop landlords are the ones that don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars laying around, and they are the ones that suffer because if the payments get delayed, then they can usually not pay the mortgage, which then causes these small landlords to be very stressed. A corporate landlord really doesn't care. They have millions of dollars. They can pay the mortgage without the tenant or Section 8 paying their part. So that's a big downside to Section 8, the delayed payments, and that they usually just hurt smaller landlords. So now let's get into the stereotypes of Section 8. There's a lot of stereotypes that revolve around renting to Section 8. And my experience with the tenant has been very good. I have nothing to complain about. I know a lot of people stay away from Section 8 because of what they hear from family members or just people on the internet. But I would say that the tenant is like anything else. You got to screen the tenant. You got to talk to the tenant and see if that's someone that you want living in your property. So from my experience, the stereotypes are not true. It all depends on what type of relationship you also have with the tenant. If the property, the toilet's clogged and you refuse to fix it and now they cannot use the bathroom, of course that the tenant's gonna be upset with you. You gotta go fix the things that are wrong in your property, I would say, as fast as possible. If not, of course that you're gonna have a bad relationship with the tenant. And in reality, that's not a right way to run a business. Usually when a business has an issue, you go and fix it as fast as possible to keep the business moving as efficiently as possible. That's the way that landlords, in my opinion, should be looking at investment properties. But that's not the case. I go into a lot of properties that are breaking down and they still want to put them on the market just like that, with walls that are open, the ceiling is not painted, there's sheetrock that has no plaster on it. Obviously, a lot of people are not running these properties like they would run their own business. So what are my overall thoughts on Section 8? I think that it's a great program and you should definitely be open to renting to Section 8. I think that there's a lot of upsides, but there's also a lot of downsides. If you're gonna be a professional landlord and take care of your property, then in my opinion, there's very little downside to renting to Section 8. Because even if there's a delayed payment, you're still gonna fix the issue and you're gonna get paid regardless. I hope you enjoyed this video about my 1-year experience with Section 8, and hopefully you learn a lot. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.